Hey everybody, what's up? Rob here.
Matt here.
Hey Matt.
Hey, Rob.
What's going on? I love
Besides
how
that,
I
like,
just love how unscripted and unplanned it is. It's amazing. It's a lot of fun.
Mhm.
So by the time, based on the title that you've clicked on, the video that you've clicked on, we are going to talk about the top 10 books that we read in 2025. So, and in typical fashion, in previous videos we've done of this, we're gonna have an honorable mentions as well because that's just how it works. So 10 books each, and what we'll do is we always switch off. So I'll do a 10, then Matt does his 10, and blah 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 blah, and then we'll each do a load of probably like what between like 5 and 7 books as honorable mentions. Does that work for you? Something like that.
yeah, that should. I might have slightly more. No, I promise you that's reined in. You know what? I'm gonna actually leave my phone next to me so I can consult my notes because there's a lot
Yeah.
to talk and go over. But I think there's like 6 or 7, but I can combine some of them
Well, for
for sure.
context, for the audience, because they're like, "What? Like 6 or 7? How many books did you read this year?"
I believe the final count was 73 or 74.
Holy crap,
Yeah.
73 or 70. Well
But,
done,
but,
buddy.
but audience, the caveat is that like some of them were short story collections and anthologies, but they were still not the bulk of what I read. Like together between anthologies and short stories, I want to say like maybe that was 10, 11 books tops out of that
I mean, if
70
it's still
something
book
book.
length, then I would count that.
It is. Oh yeah, definitely. Most of those were at minimum like 300 to 400 pages, and some of them were huge chonkers, like 700 pages almost.
I think it's also worth mentioning that you read all of your books as books. You didn't do audiobooks or anything like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, not
Yep.
not ebooks, audiobooks,
Yep.
or like anything else, like physical print books. Yeah.
Well done, sir. So, I read a meager 58,
That's
and
still pretty good.
a lot of them were audiobooks because I listen to audiobooks at work. That's how I get through the day. So, we got a ton of books to talk about here. So, we'll go first with the honorable mentions. We'll just get straight into it. And would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first? And just say all of your honorable mentions. So,
Sure,
and then
sure.
I'll say all of mine. Or yeah, we'll just do that. You go first, say all your honorable mentions, and then I'll say my honorable mentions. So,
Okay.
have at it,
Well,
Matt.
first one, probably the two closest ones that would be on this list if it was a top 15 were Shadows of the App number 2, which was I think Dragonfly
Dragonfly
Falling was the
Falling, yeah.
title. Like Adrian Tchaikovsky's the author, by the way, and then Shadows of the App 4 was oh my god, Salute the Dark. Salute the Dark. That
Yeah,
was the
Salute
name.
the Dark. Yep.
We've read 5 of these books, audience, so it's hard to remember the titles with everything else I read. But yeah, no, those are great. Uh, Real quick, like explain like I'm 5. Imagine a steampunk world where there's humanoid people who have bug attributes. I always tell people if you've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, instead of bending, their totem insects gave them like insect attributes.
Yep.
Uh, and it's at a point in history where like science and magic are kind of clashing, and there's an empire of wasps that is trying to conquer and subjugate like other races of insect people. And yeah, that's that. Uh, Not sure if we wanted to go back and forth with our honorable mentions, or
Sure,
you
we could
just
do
wanted
that.
me to.
Sure, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
And I want to mention just because you pointed that out immediately, and you can.
Mhm.
It's not one of my honorable mentions, but I second it because it was just short of my honorable mentions. But we did read that together. So for the audience
Yeah.
sake, we're doing a whole read of Adrian Tchaikovsky's series. It's called Shadows of the Apt, and we read the first 5 books
Hmm.
this year.
And
So
there's 5 more, and there's a few like short stories that,
yep.
and some of them might even be novella length, but maybe we'll read those someday. Like I don't even know how accessible they are. I don't even know if that's in print anymore.
Yeah, I don't know either. I would agree with you that books 2 and 4 were by far the strongest ones. I think maybe the weakest would be either the first one or the fifth one for me. Not that it was none of them were bad.
Oh,
It
not
was
the
just like
third. Interesting.
it ranged for me. The books themselves ranged for me from like 3.5, 4 stars to 5 stars. So
Nice. Yeah,
yeah,
no,
so
that's definitely fair.
yeah. So okay. So my honorable mentions. Okay, I actually have props. I'm just gonna get some books out.
Nice.
Okay. So, what's my first honorable mention? Okay. My first honorable mention is a book that I just... Basically, it's the last book that I read. And I did read the physical version of this. And it's Stowaway to Mars by John Wyndham.
Oh, nice.
I'm a massive John Wyndham fan. You're going to notice with me, audience, since this is our first video we're posting and people don't know, I'm a massive classic science fiction fan. This is 100% credited to my wife, who got me into classic sci-fi books. I've always been into sci-fi, classic sci-fi movies and stuff like that. But I'm a massive John Wyndham fan. He's phenomenal. I have not been disappointed by a John Wyndham book yet. I've read 5 or 6 of them. This is great. It's just, it's exactly as the title suggests. There's a crew from England who are trying to get to Mars. They're trying to be the first people to go to Mars. They get in a rocket, blast off into space, realize very quickly after there's a stowaway aboard. And so, yeah, there you go. I won't say any more so I don't spoil it, but this is classic high science fiction. This was written in the 30s. This was actually written under under his pen name before he officially wrote as John Wyndham, and he wrote his classics like Day of the Triffids and The Chrysalids and Chucky and like those books. So this predates all that. This is like 1930. I want to say this is like 1935 maybe. It's very 1935. Wow. So it's like John Boyan or something like that, I think is his pen name, and it was originally called Planet Pain or Planet Plane. You can see it in there. Planet Plane.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Yeah, so great book. If you like classic sci-fi, check it out.
I gotta say that his short story, like quick aside, his short story collection right here, Logical Fantasy.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. I'm like a little over halfway through it, and like same thing. I haven't been disappointed by any of the stories. Like there's been one that was like just okay, but it wasn't bad or like even mid at all. It was pretty good.
He's amazing. I absolutely love John Wyndham. He's phenomenal. So Matt, why don't you do your next honorable mention?
All right. Excuse me while I look down at my phone. All right. The Sandman series by Neil Gaiman. I don't physically have this on me. I was borrowing it from my friend Michael, but it was amazing. We're going to talk about it in the superlative video, or like as Rob's been referring to it, the Q&A video. Well, I can't really think of a good name for it. Anyway,
whatever we end up calling it, the companion video.
Yes, there you go. It was one of the few books that I don't even think almost made me cry. I actually do think I cried. Like it was like 9 or 10 different volumes, and they're graphic novels, by the way. It's not just pure prose, but the prose that is there is great. But yeah, there's a particular scene that's just it's pretty rough, and I think anybody who's a parent, it would just like devastate them.
Ugh.
Yeah, but like at the same time, it's like also a choice that, in context of the story, makes sense, and it's actually kind of like a mercy thing.
Gotcha.
But it's rough, and then when you see how the main character reacts to it, it's like equally soul crushing, because it's like the character's typically like very stoic and doesn't wear their emotions very often, and I don't know. And that was at the very beginning of like last year, like right around. Maybe not this time. I think I finished it in like February or March, perhaps. But it's very good. It's touching. It's very ethereal. Like if you've read American Gods, I think you would like enjoy The Sandman very, very much. Yeah, no, it was just very good. Without getting into too much spoilers, it's very neat. Like similar to American Gods, there's like higher beings. And the main character, Dream, is one of 7 what's called the Endless, and they're above even most gods. You've got, let's see if I remember them, Dream, Destiny, Delirium, who used to be, oh god, I forget who she morphed into something else. There's Destruction, Desire, Despair, and Death. And those are the 7 Endless.
Cool.
If I counted. Yeah, that's 7, right? Yeah.
Cool, yeah. It's 7, yeah.
And yeah, it follows Dream, who's basically like the lord of like like dreams and nightmares, and he exists in his own dimension, and it's cool. It's really neat.
They made it into a series, didn't they?
They did, and I've watched like the first 3 or 4 episodes. I like it. I don't love it. I do really think they did their best with the source material.
Hmm.
I just feel like something like that would probably be better suited to animation, just because of how bizarre and out there and ethereal and surreal it is.
I
You
watched the
know?
first episode or two of that, and it was recommended by my wife Rachel's dad. I guess he watched the series and he really liked it, and it looked cool, but I just never really followed through with it.
Yeah, I will say the first episode's pretty much one for one to like the first or second main chapter in the first volume. It's pretty much like exactly how it goes down.
Nice. Um, my next honorable mention is the only one that I don't have a physical book for, so you'll
Oh
I probably
wow.
don't even need to say this, but there'll be graphics and stuff of books that we have up here, and it's one we read together. It's Gone South by
Yes,
is it
okay.
Robert McCammon? Is that his name?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's pronounced Kamen, but
Robert
yes, yeah.
McCammon. That was fun. That was really good. We read that not that long ago, maybe a month ago, and I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was really fun. I love the characters in it. It was funny. It's very much a story about like empathy and second chances. I felt,
Oh, yeah.
and it was just really well done. It's fun. Um, the main character is basically this guy who's kind of downtrodden. He's what, in his 40s. You find out he's very very
Yeah.
sick. Some bad stuff happens to him early on, and you're just like, what the hell? And a couple bad things keep
Yeah.
happening to him, and then he kind of runs into some other sort of misfits, two of which are after him for various reasons. One of which is an Elvis impersonator who's like amazing. It's probably my favorite character
Yeah.
in the book. And yeah, it's literally a title like They Go South. He's trying to go elsewhere. Let's say I don't want to spoil anything because it's such a fun book. And yeah, I
I
loved
know.
it.
I mean, I'll talk about it a little more later,
Yeah,
but yeah,
it was
it,
really
it was
really
a
good.
fun.
It was fun. It was easy to read. It was quick, and it was just I don't know. I love the characters, and it was one of those books that you read. It's a good palate cleanser book. You know what I mean? Like
Yes,
so.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's Gone South. Check it out.
Okay, and funny that you just left off with one we read together. I'm gonna also mention Imagica. That
Mm,
was an awesome book, but it falls short for like a few different reasons. I think I forget if you used this word, Rob, or if I used it, but I think you would agree. I feel like it's a flawed masterpiece. And but when I say
yes.
flawed masterpiece, it's still like a 4 out of 5. I just feel like he didn't quite hit the mark. Like there's a lot of messaging there. I'm just not sure everything he put down got through to either one of us. And I think some of it could have been a little more concise or even split into 2 books. And
Yep.
I say this as a lover of like huge, disturbingly thick books.
Well, as
But
I
like
just
I feel
showed,
like
this is one book, guys. This is one book.
yeah,
So whenever
yeah.
they published this in paperback, they literally couldn't do it. This would be what it would look like. Ridiculous.
I'm
But yeah.
actually curious where book 1 ends off too versus book 2.
On here, it
Yeah.
ends off
Like I can think of a few points where it could.
I don't know exactly. I would need a minute, but yeah, anyway, it's
Like the reveal when you find out who Gentle actually is,
well,
that would be a good one to
this is book
split
1.
it.
It says the Fifth Dominion, and then this one says the Reconciliation, book 2.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then that's yeah. So I'm right. I'm probably right. It probably
Yeah.
ends when it's like, oh yeah, you're that person, and yeah,
I agree with you. It was very epic in scale. It was very like I love Barker's prose. He's amazing. One of my favorite horror authors. And and all that. He's a pretty incredible writer. It's a crazy story. Like I you
yeah.
know
No, that's probably if I had to make a top 5 like craziest thing I read this year, that would be up there
yeah
for sure.
yeah cool. Um, my next one is another classic sci-fi by one of the greats. It's The Puppet Masters by Robert Heinlein,
Ooh,
author of Stranger in a Strange Land,
Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers, Moon is a Harsh Mistress, Time Enough for Love. He did a ton of books. This was my Heinlein this year. I always try to read one book each by the big three. I've been doing that the last like 4 or 5 years. So the big three, for those who don't know, are Arthur C. Clarke, Robert A. Heinlein, and Isaac Asimov. So this was the Heinlein I read this year. This was great. This was basically like a 50s like alien invasion movie, but a book, a novel version. It's great.
Oh, cool.
It's basically there's these weird aliens called that are basically slugs that like latch onto people's backs, and it's got that whole like invasion of the body snatchers kind of thing where it's like they latch on, they like possess your personality. The person who's possessed is like this kind of like zombie drone type of person with no real, and I don't know if I can't remember if they're connected like with a deeper hive mind or something like that, but it's one of those. So I don't know. Let's see what year this was. 51. So I don't know if this was like the archetype story for that type of story that would dominate Hollywood, that alien invasion thing, but it's fantastic. Well, no, I guess the archetypal story would be War of the Worlds, which I also read this year. But this is like very, it's just classic. It's got that vibe. It's really fun. This is actually probably one of my very favorite Heinlein novels. It might be second even to Stranger in a Strange Land. I liked it that much. So, The Puppet Masters, check it out. It's underrated. It's really good.
That's big praise. It's funny you mentioned slugs too, because that's the second slug book you've read, if not more. Because the mages in Shadows of the Apt 5 are like these giant like slug gods or something.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead. What's your next honorable mention?
Okay, I've got two more. No, that's it. I just finished a trilogy called the War Art Saga, which is kind of like a fantasy, like kung fu series by author Wesley Chu, and fantastic, fantastic stuff. One of the things that's always stood out in the series is the humor, the comedy. They are like very, very funny books, immensely so. And while I thought the ending was good, it kind of felt just like a smidge rushed. And I would have liked to have seen more world building. I hope he does more in the world. It's cool because it's like there's a China analog and a like Mongolia analog, but the Mongolian stand-in people, they have like these giant steampunk cities that like roll around in this like what they call the Grass Sea, and it's the coolest part of the series, and I feel like the author just didn't quite do enough of it. It's like, and like all the clans have like these giant like steampunk like cities, almost like a la something like Howl's Moving Castles, but like they war with each other. They like attack the China analog for like supplies and goods and stuff. And no, it's just it's really cool, and the magic's neat. It's all individualized to certain like fighting styles. But yeah, it didn't quite like make the top 10 for me, but it was still very good.
Nice.
Yeah, and the third book was called The Art of Legend.
Cool. My next one is by another maybe like second or third wave classic sci-fi author, Orson Scott Card. It's called Songmaster. For those who don't know, he's the author of Ender's Game and that whole series. This was, I don't know if this was his first novel. I think this was his first novel. Or like it was at least his it was either this or like I think this is at least his first sci-fi novel. Interesting story, far future type of thing. There's this planet that basically like not breeds, but like it's like a giant school for singers, and there's something called the Songmaster, who's this boy, and it basically follows this boy and like his journey. He's just like the best singer, like by far, and like the singing has a deeper quality. It's more of like to the point where like he sings and people are so overcome with emotion, like it doesn't matter like who you are, he just is able to pull like the exact emotion out of you, like exactly what you're feeling through song. And then he ends up becoming the songmaster for the emperor of I guess the galaxy. So it's a pretty interesting story. It's very Orson Scott Card. It's got that like it's similar to Ender's Game in that it's like that, that chosen one boy kind of thing who has to grow up, and there's a lot of like traumatic stuff that happens to him and all that stuff. Great book, really, really good. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, check out Songmaster. Not as amazing as Ender's Game, but it's like you know, a step below it, you know. Really, really good. What's your next one?
Okay. My next and last one would be the third and final book in the Gwendy Peterson trilogy by Stephen King and Richard Chizmar. It's called Gwendy's Final Task, and in it, the main character, like each book takes place at a different phase in her life. The first book, Gwendy's Button Box, takes place when she's like a teenager. Then the second book takes place when she's like, feel like I want to say in her 30s or early 40s, and the last book takes place in her 60s. And it involves, can't really say anything because it kind of spoils the first and second book, but it's a very emotional journey, and it connects. Like you find out it's in the same universe as like the Dark Tower, basically, without too much spoilers, and that's kind of like a pivotal plot point at the same time.
That's really cool. I'm wearing the Dark Tower shirt right now.
Yep,
love it.
Exactly. So it's very topical. I just read the first book as a quick aside, like literally finished it today. But yeah, no, Gwendy's Final Task is awesome. And the first two books are kind of novella length, so it's a very easy trilogy to read through.
I'm gonna have to check that trilogy out very soon. So.
Oh yeah, highly recommend it.
Do you think it ended the trilogy well, or is there gonna be more?
Yes, absolutely. I think so. Like they probably could. Yeah, I think that story's definitely done.
Okay.
With those characters and that plot point.
Gotcha. Okay.
If they did anything more, they could flesh out the background of the one character I was texting you about today, though.
Gotcha.
Because they never explicitly really go into who or what he was.
I realize I don't think I'm going to be talking about this book, so this is a good opportunity. I did finally read a Richard Chizmar book this year, which was Behind, which was really, really good. It did not make my list. This is how great
all you mean books... Memorials?
Sorry, Memorials. Yeah, that was Bentley Little. Sorry. Memorials. Yeah. I got the two mixed up. It was great. It was really good, and I could see how he would mesh well with Stephen King. So, yeah. It's I would definitely be into trying out that trilogy at some point. Was that your last honorable mention?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so my bad. I have 3 left, so I'm just gonna quickly.
No, that's good. Now I don't feel as bad. Good.
Okay, so I'll just run through my 3 other honorable mentions really quick. This we read together, The Summoning by Bentley Little. So
wait.
Oh,
got one
twinning.
Yeah.
Love it. And thank you for this, by the way, audience. You don't know, Matt gave me this as a gift, which is very nice of him. It's the Cemetery Dance edition. Beautiful. Really, really beautiful. I loved this. This was so close. These last 3 especially were so unbelievably close to my top 10, but that just goes to show how good, like, the books I read this year. Honestly, all of these books, I'd say my top 20 were basically 4 or 5 star books. That's how good this year. It was very hard to put this together. So to leave this out of the top 10 was tough. This was a great horror book. And this is a proper horror book. I felt like there was a few books that we read for spooky season, and we were like, let's read this horror book, and they were barely horror. You know, if you can even call them horror. This is a proper horror book. This was great. This was, like the end. What happens to some of the characters in this is brutal, and I didn't see coming. Towards the end, you know what I'm talking about. Like it's got the whole like small town like. There's this evil thing that happens in the small town, you know, like a lot of like shit going on like underneath. There's a lot of commentary, I think, on religion and stuff like that. Really up my alley. I really, really enjoyed this. So yeah, if you haven't read this, The Summoning, Bentley Little. I don't know if you had any thoughts on it since you read it as well.
Oh no, I do, but it's coming later in the video. So
okay. So maybe yeah, okay, gotcha. Okay. So my other 2. These also were really hard not to put in the top 10. It was very close. Sea of Rust by C. Robert Cargill. I loved this book. And I want to thank my buddy Dave. If you ever see this, Dave, he gave me this, I think it was a Christmas ago. And this book was chilling. And I'll talk about that later. But long story short, it's about a robot apocalypse. Do I need to say more in these times of AI and all this other crazy shit going on? So it was really great, really good songwriting, really like kind of hopeless and and dissonant and dark, and it was awesome, my kind of thing. So, and then lastly, this was again this almost made the top 10, but I decided to keep number 10 at number 10 because I liked it so much. But yeah, it was another classic sci-fi. It's The Gods Themselves by Isaac Asimov. Had he not, I think, basically, he didn't flub the ending, but the ending was very underwhelming. So maybe, I guess in that case, he did flub the ending. But had he stuck the landing, this would be the best Isaac Asimov book. And part 2 of this book, you could kind of divide into 3 sections. Part 2 of this is amazing, unbelievable. It's there's 2 things I guess Asimov was always criticized for never talking about in his books, and that were aliens and sex, and he does in this one. And not in the way you'd think. So like,
okay.
It's not like a bunch of like green aliens having an orgy or anything like that. But there's
so
he's
it's
clever
not like
with
Captain Kirk, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah. He's clever with it. So it's like, God, how do I describe the gods themselves? It's like there's this pump that humans are using, discovered by this one guy, and the first part of the story is really funny because it's just like all these scientists like bickering, and like their entire motivation is to like prove the other guy wrong, and there's a lot of like, I fucking hate that guy sort of thing. It's really funny. It's like he's obviously making a commentary about like just sort of like the frivolity of like the scientific experts sort of thing, even though he was very like sort of realist, humanist, pro-science guy, but like he's calling out like some of the like, we're still humans, scientists are still humans, so they're gonna like be bitter towards each other, they're gonna get jealous, they're gonna do this. So that's the first part. The second part is sublime, it's psychedelic, it's like this whole thing with these aliens from another dimension. And then the third part is largely takes place on the moon, which is really cool, but it just sort of like the ending just doesn't quite land, doesn't quite land there, it's just a slight disappointment. But still, I'd still call this like a 10 out of 10 book. Amazing, sublime, like super, like this is the kind of shit I look for in classic science fiction. It's really great. So if you want a really good Asimov, The Gods Themselves. Okay, do we want to do our top 10 now finally?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
After much palavering.
Yeah, palavering. What's your number 10, Matt?
Well, we just saw it, but guess what? We're going to talk about it anyway.
Nice.
We are going to talk about The Summoning.
Cool.
Real quick, I'm going to keep this brief because, like Rob mentioned, a lot of things that I liked about it. Bentley Little really does a good job, like developing the town, making it feel like a character. It's very much like Salem's Lot or the town Ray Bradbury writes about in Dandelion Wine. I feel like the town kind of has personality. Maybe not as strongly as those 2 things, but one of the things I really enjoyed too, I don't know much about like Chinese mythology or Chinese like folklore. It's like a Chinese folklore take on like a vampire, basically.
Yeah.
So the normal things that bother a vampire in like Western culture and media, this vampire doesn't give a single crap about.
Yeah.
Crosses don't mean anything to it, because it's been around since before that religion was even a thing.
Yep.
I don't think garlic worked either, right? I can't remember,
think so.
But I don't think
I don't think none of the tropey vampire stuff worked on it. No.
Yeah, it was all other stuff that they had to rely on the knowledge of one of the main characters' grandmothers to combat it, which was really neat and interesting.
Yep.
And like Rob said, it's definitely a proper horror novel. It's probably one of the scarier things I read this year. A lot of disturbing scenes and imagery. Yeah, I would highly recommend people to check out Bentley Little. I know Stephen King's had a lot of positive things to say about him, as well as other horror authors. And I think the Stephen King quote that's on most of his newer books, he calls him the horror poet laureate, which is pretty big praise coming from Stephen King.
Yeah, from Stephen King.
So it's like,
yeah.
And I only read 2 books from him, but I really want to check out more from him. I know Bentley wrote a book called DMV, so I'm very excited to read a horror book about the DMV because everybody hates the friggin' DMV.
All he has to do is write about actually like going to the DMV and doing anything. That's like basically exactly. That's basically it. I didn't even mention, it's funny when I was talking about The Summoning, that it is about vampires, so I guess you're welcome there. But yeah, I don't know about you, Matt. I'm a sucker for vampires.
Yeah, yeah. I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. Rosie, he actually just started Salem's Lot, by the way, like today,
Great
I
book.
think.
Yeah, great book.
He's really loving it.
Nice. And I read I again I'm not going to be talking about this book either, but I really liked it. I read that, and I also read Behind by Bentley Little, which was good. It was really good. It took a while for that one to get going, but then once it got going, it was really good.
Yeah.
Um, okay, my number 10 is a book that I read very early on last year, so there's actually a decent amount. Actually, I remember it pretty well, but this is one of my first reads of 2025. So Cold the River by Michael Kurita. Loved this book. Loved this book. I don't know if I liked this one or Those Who Wish Me Dead more. He's got a great writing style. I also read his the one that you gave me, also not on this list. I read it this year.
Oh, where they wait.
Yeah, he writ under his pen name Scott
And
Carson.
it's under a pen name.
Scott
his
Carson.
pen name Scott Carson.
Yep.
Yeah.
This I liked a lot more, which is why this one's on the list. But great book. It's just where's this take place again? It's like Indiana or something. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
it's somewhere in the Midwest.
Somewhere in the
I believe.
Midwest. Guy's like he's basically like a former like cinematographer or something for Hollywood, and he's gone on to something happens where he has a falling out in Hollywood, and then he ends up doing like videos for funerals and stuff like that. So he'll do like a montage of somebody dying. So he goes to this little town for this lady, so he can film her stuff about her father, and he goes there and some weird shit starts happening. It's basically like a ghost story type of thing. Really just such a fun book. Like I was kind of like what I was saying about like Gone South or whatever. This was just like a fun kind of palate cleanser read, easy to read, really fun, really epic, really just a great like kind of ghost story, really. I don't know if I'm missing anything there. It's been a bit since I read it, but I loved it. Really love Michael Kurita.
Right. Number 9.
What's your number 9?
Yeah, you know what? Like I was telling Rob earlier, we're kind of winging some of them. I know what like the top 3 or 4 are, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna do King of Shadows by Robert McCammon. This is
Nice.
book number 8 in the Matthew. I don't know if it's pronounced Corbet or Corbett series. His last name's Corbett. Character is described as like an early American James Bond. Takes place in the late 18th century, and he's what characters in world refer to him as a problem solver. Basically, he works for like a contracting agency that's kind of like a quasi like detective agency, but they don't have a word for detectives yet.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. In this book, they're on their way to Italy to find a magic mirror that apparently lets you communicate with demons in hell. However, they get derailed on this island where weird shenanigans start to happen. My favorite part about this story was you get like 2 big parts in the book are dedicated to like flashback sequences for 2 of the antagonists of this book, and I thought they were really well done. Like those could have been like novellas that would have just stood on their own with how good they were, in my opinion.
Cool.
And they kind of like really give like I mean, the one was more tragic than the other. Like the other one was like, but I mean, it both shows you the origin about how like they didn't used to be god awful people, and it's like, all right, you can kind of understand how they ended up where they did.
Nice.
It was good. It was good. And from what I understand, like it's interesting period piece writing too, because it's like I haven't read many fantastical stories set in that time period, and there's definitely horror elements in this, which are neat. Which same thing. It's like I'm not used to like reading something from like the 17th or 18th century, let alone something twinged with like horror too. So it was neat.
Yeah. It sounds a little bit like The Terror, where
Okay.
like Dan Simmons, where it's like it takes place in that. I'll be talking about Dan Simmons in a little while, but yeah, it takes place in that era. It's like the 1800s or something, and then he adds like it's an actual like historical event, and he adds like a horror element to it. Yeah, it's cool. So I kind of like that thing. Was it easy to read like Gone South? Because I'd probably be interested. you know?
Maybe a little more challenging because some
Yeah.
of the language is older, but it's like by no means bad. Like
Yeah.
it's not like a super complex read.
For the
But
by the
yeah, I
way,
would say
for the people watching, I'm not a total idiot.
yeah.
Like I like easy to read stuff, but it's like what I love about stuff like that is that it's just so it's again like palate cleansing. You read these big thick fantasy books or these big series or something with more difficult prose, which I enjoy doing very much. Like a lot of classic sci-fi is like that where it's like harder to read stuff. But then you also like it all has its place. You got to have those easy to read books as well where it's like, okay, I've
Mhm.
just come off of reading like a Stormlight Archive. Now I'm reading a Michael Crichton novel, and it's just
Yeah.
like boom, 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 boom. Books over, fun read, epic story. I like that kind of thing. But if he's writing something a little more, I don't want to say sophisticated, but like a little more intricate, I like that too. You know. So, okay. My number 9 is I don't have a physical book of it. It's a book called The Devil Rides Out by Dennis Wheatley. Um,
Hmm.
so I don't know if this colored this. So this book had a few things really going for it, which surprised me and made it in my top 10. Number one, it's an older book. I like old stuffy books. I don't know if it's because I'm becoming old and stuffy, but I like old stuffy books. It was written in the 30s by this English guy. So that's the first thing it has going for it. The second thing that it has going for it, is it has the occult in it. That's got me
Hmm.
immediately. Love stuff about the occult. Love occult stuff. Number 3 thing that it has going for it. How did I find out about this book? Apparently, this book really influenced Geezer Butler when he was writing the first Black Sabbath album. Apparently, this
Oh,
is the book that influenced the "What is this that stands before?" So I heard this. I was listening to something else about Black Sabbath, which for people who aren't music fans, you should know. Everybody should know who Black Sabbath is. So obviously, that big concert this year, whatever, or their last year, this past year. I'm listening. I'm in this big Sabbath mood. I'm listening to stuff, and I'm like, I was. It was like a video or something on YouTube, and it's like, oh, Geezer Butler was really influenced by this novel, and I'm like, oh my god! Like as soon as I heard that, I looked up the book, and no joke, I stopped watching the video, found an audiobook of it on YouTube, and started listening to it. That's how excited I was to read this book.
wow.
So I read it. So it had that going for it as the Black Sabbath connection, and then the ultimate thing that made this book for me was I read the audiobook and it was narrated by Christopher Lee. So like
Oh,
so it
yeah,
was just like
yeah.
a perfect storm. It was just like old novel written by this English guy about the occult influenced Black Sabbath. Christopher Lee narrates it. Like this how is this not number 1, really, you know? Um anyway, cool story. Uh it's just about basically it's from a bigger series which I want to get all of them. There's like 10 books in the series, the Duke de Richelieu, if I pronounce it correctly. And it's just like this duke in England, this character this guy made up who just like fights the occult. Like he like every book he just like has to fight some like weird occult group. Or like I read a second book which also should be an honorable mention as well, called Strange what's it called, Strange Ways or something like that. And it's basically like the occult but like Nazis. So like they're trying to find the
Oh,
occult
perfect.
leader from the Nazis. Anyway, so this one, The Devil Rides Out, is really good. It's just about like this like one of the guy's main character's friends, he starts having these like this like he joins this club, and the main character's like concerned about it, and he goes and realizes, oh, he's like joined the occult. So it's basically him trying to drag this guy out of it, and then he basically ends up like hunting the occult, and him and this American guy are like trying to stop it. It's great shit. I love it. I really love it. So yeah, Devil Rides Out by Dennis Wheatley. Check it out. What's your number
Very
8?
cool. Think I'm gonna go with Where They Wait by Scott Carson slash Michael Corita.
Another
This
one we
was
read
really
together.
neat. Yep, this plays with the idea of memories and trauma being influenced by like audio and like other sensory gimmicks and devices and things like that. And It's also very relatable because like the main character's mother is suffering from like some kind of like Alzheimer's or dementia, and going through that, I will say that was like a very accurate like representation
Yeah.
of that. And just the story itself is like very interesting too because it feels very scientific and like grounded, but there's also a very clear like supernatural like element
Hmm.
underneath it all. And it's also kind of like a it's like a weird quasi like ghost story slash psychological thriller mixed with like military industrial complex like type like messaging and
Yep.
like aversion and stuff. But yeah, no, it was good. It was different. I think both of us went into this not really knowing what to expect, but no, I ended up really liking it though.
It was great. It was really great. It didn't quite make it, but it was like just shy of my of the list as well. It's very good. Um, it was fun. It was a dark book. It was fun though. It was like I really enjoyed it. He's great, Michael Carita. I think he's
Yeah, no,
underrated.
yes, absolutely. Like I have The Prophet here, which I need to read, and then he has a new one coming out called The Ridge as well.
Nice.
That Stephen King said was apparently really scary.
Is the Prophet is that Scott Carson or is that just under his regular name?
It's under his regular name. In fact, I've got it right
Okay.
here. It's literally right on the shelf right next to me on the
Well, let me
couch.
know when you read it because maybe I can find the audiobook and we'll read it together this
Yeah,
year.
check that out. It's got like a cool little turtle on the
That's
front.
really cool. He's
Yeah.
he's really good. He's a young guy. He's only a little older than us, so we've talked about him
Yeah.
before.
Oh yeah.
My turn.
I believe so.
Number 8. I finally read this year. This year, and this has been on my radar forever. Planet of the Apes. Pierre
Ooh.
Boyer. Boulet. It's French, I think. So yeah, it's like the novel that Planet of the Apes was based off of. This is obviously from the original movie. This cover. Um, Great. I mean, I don't know what to say about this. I mean, I don't know about you. I've seen literally every Planet of the Apes movie that's ever been made. The entire first 5 or 6 or whatever it was from the 60s and 70s. I've seen the Tim Burton remake. I've seen this year we watched the 4 new ones. So it's like what, Rise of, Kingdom of, all those. Um, I
Yeah.
literally see where every single movie takes something from this book. You know,
Nice.
and it's really well done. I thought it was smart. I thought it was very. It's pretty. It's actually fairly hard science fiction. So it's like the science is really good in
Wow.
it. It's got a twist ending, which is great. Which I actually didn't see coming, but then when it happened, I was like, of course, you know. And yeah, really good. I would say it's probably got the most in common with the first and third movies, which I don't know if you ever saw. You've seen the original Planet of the Apes, right?
No,
No,
actually.
okay. Oh, you should watch it. Well, yeah, there's elements specifically in the third movie of the original ones. It's like there are apes that come to Earth and they're treated almost like celebrities, weirdly, and then that kind of happens in this, except the human is that to the ape world, if that makes sense. So there's
Sure.
yeah. So anyway, really good. I don't know what else to say about it. It's Planet of the Apes. It's worth reading. Check it out.
Cool. Now we're on to 7, I think it is,
Yep.
right?
Number 7.
Give me one. I get my stack of stuff out here. Look at this big boy.
Oh my god.
This is the best Cemetery Dance 1. This
Wow.
is editor Richard Chismar's favorite stories from issues 1 through 25 of the magazine, I believe. And basically, Cemetery Dance magazine, they do interviews with horror authors. They've got like other media columns where they talk about other horror books and like movies, and not necessarily even just horror, but they're big meat and potatoes. Like one of the things that I really like about the magazine is they typically have new short horror prose, or yeah, I think most of it's new to the issues it debuts in. I know Stephen King actually just had a new short story last year in the latest
Cool.
issue. Um, that was really neat. but yeah, these are his favorite stories, and for the most part, a lot of stories on my like favorite short story list come right out of here. Some really cool, out of the box stories. There's one with sentient evil clothing, and there's also one where somebody kills somebody with like a like art sculpture made out of words, and they kill them with the word kindness.
No, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, literally killed them with kindness. Yeah, I was like, oh my god, and like as the story was going on, I was like, oh my god, yeah, it was great. Yeah,
That's
there's some like
awesome.
really darkly, like really dark, funny stories. I think my favorite short story of the year is actually out of this, and I really want to read more from the author. Like I'll go into it more later, but
That's so
this
funny.
book is full of so many different good short stories from so many different like horror authors that I want to check out
I love that cover. Do
for
you mind
sure.
showing it again?
Yeah, and I think this
Cool.
is I think all three of these are from three different issues.
Oh, wow.
And I have to say the Stephen King story in here is absolutely hilarious. It's about a possessed pair of like walking like plastic chattery teeth, like
Oh,
the
you've
wind
told,
up
yeah,
toys.
you told me about this. It's
No,
so good.
there's so much ridiculous stuff that happens in that story. It's great.
You should mention that you met Richard Chismar this year.
Yeah, yes, I did. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? Widow's Point would have been another honorable mention, but I met Richard Chismar and his son Billy Chismar, and they wrote a story about a haunted lighthouse, which is a bunch of fun. I don't want to say too much because Rob has yet to read it, and he has a copy. It was very fun and very awesome. And in fact, since you mentioned that, I actually asked Richard if he could sign this. So
Nice.
yeah, I don't know
Format,
how well.
turn down the
Yeah.
lights, start to dance. Or start the dance. Nice.
Yep.
Very cool.
That's how he like always kind of like introduces the magazine and whatnot.
Yeah, you've been
But yeah,
super into the getting like stuff from Cemetery Dance this year, so that's definitely been
yeah.
a
Well,
big theme.
they offer great deals through their like mailing list and stuff, and they're always running cool promos. So I got to say, it's a lot of fun. I don't
Well,
really
and it
see
seems like
any of
you've
these.
discovered so many great stories. So it's cool that you
Yeah,
know you hopped on it, right?
absolutely.
Um, so for my number seven, it's something a little different. You talked about this book last time, I remember. It's not sci-fi, it's not fantasy, it's not horror. It's actually an autobiography, and it's Geddy Lee, My F in
Ooh,
Life. Um, this was fabulous, man. So like, I mean, you're probably gonna hear me, especially, but possibly Matt, like rap on music a little bit, pun intended. Just like, um, just because I love like I love like old rock star biographies and metal and prog and all this stuff, which basically Getty is all of the above. And so I've been wanting to read this forever. I have other rock star books that I've been wanting to read, especially given this year I've been really wanting to read this and I just haven't yet. So I really want to prioritize reading this because we lost Ozzy this year. Um, but anyway, I finally read My F in Life, Geddy Lee. For those who don't know, he is the front man. I can say is because they're back together. Uh, is the front man, bass player, keyboard player, singer of Rush. For those who don't know, and this is just about his life. From when he was a kid to coming up, starting the band with the other two guys, to trying to make it, making those classic albums, becoming like a massive band, touring with all these other bands to the present, and then leading up to the unfortunate death of Neil Peart, who was the drummer of Rush. He died just a few years ago. Amazing book, like one of the best autobiographies I've ever read. There's a chapter in here that's like really heart wrenching, and it's about his parents' experience in the Holocaust, and it's weird because it almost feels like a book within the book. Because like if you read the
Yeah,
rest of the
yeah,
book, it's almost like it's so hard to believe that that is technically part of his history, because like the rest of it is about like he's in a touring band, he's trying to make it, he's a young guy with these two other knuckleheads trying to make music and all these things, touring the world, becoming so successful, and but it like the backdrop of it is just this horrific story, I mean, and obviously he wasn't the only guy who had family who were in the Holocaust, so like that chapter was very interesting to read because it was like it almost felt like it's like it's almost disjointed, but he even says in the book, he's like, you don't really fully understand me until you understand the story of my family, you know. So the bright spot out of it was his parents met in the Holocaust, in I think it was like Auschwitz or something like that, when they were kids basically, and then they both survived and they tried to find each other, and then they moved to Canada after they found each other, and that's where Getty grew up, in Ontario, not far from where I live, actually, in Toronto. And it was a great story. Lot of laughs, a lot of really funny stuff, a lot of sad stuff. Getty's a legend, you know, just an amazing, amazing musician. He seems like a stand-up guy. He seems like one of the very few rock stars, and Rush feels like one of the very few bands that actually genuinely had integrity, genuinely tried to do things for the sake of the art, for the sake of the music, rather than just like the fame and fortune, all that bullshit. And like, I'll say it was probably, I was surprised to hear that Rush did dabble in like drugs and stuff. Like they like, I was surprised to hear they were doing coke, like they were doing stuff like that.
Yeah, that was a big shocker.
Yeah, it was a shocker, but they didn't ever, that was a very short period of time. They never really got out of control, and they were faithful to their wives the whole time. So like, how many other and it was the same three guys for all those years, and they genuinely liked each other and were best friends. How many 40-year-old rock bands can say that? You can't. You know, it's legendary. So this was a really fun read. I know you read it last year. I'm glad I finally got to it. Loved it. Love Geddy Lee. Love Rush. You know. Go ahead.
It's really good stuff.
Yep. Great
All
stuff.
right. We're cheating here. I've got two different anthologies, but they're both in the same series, another Cemetery Dance series. We've got October Dream 1, and I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be Ray Bradbury on the cover. I'm almost positive.
I love that their anthology covers are really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then this is the second volume.
I love that one too. You sent me pictures of that one.
Yep, the back is awesome. Love the little pumpkin monster there.
You've thrown me for a loop. I love that you have all these anthologies on your list. It's cool.
Yep, and one of my favorite things too, like all the short stories in there, you can guess they're obviously about like Halloween, like history of Halloween. Like it could just happen to take place on Halloween. It might not have to do specifically with the holiday. But another cool thing is a lot of the authors who write the short stories in these, and some who don't have short stories, they all have like their favorite Halloween memory. So it's really cool to see how Halloween has changed over like the decades, because some people are like, oh, I picked the Halloween in the 40s or the 50s or the 60s or the 70s or the 80s. It's really neat, and it feels, I don't know, like almost personal. Like you get to like see a really intimate like slice of this person's history, and it kind of like gives you an idea of what shaped them as a writer, because like some of them are like, you know, this memory is what inspired me to write in general or write horror. So
nice. Yeah,
it's almost like a bunch of people's memoirs on top of like the anthologies, like on top of the short stories. So it's just really fascinating. And when I met Richard, he actually said that at least the first one was like one of the favorite anthologies that they've done. So I was like,
it's a cool premise. It's a really cool premise for an anthology. I love it. You know, It's cool when they have some kind of theme like that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Any particular story that grabbed you?
Yes, there's a few in both of them. Actually, hang on while I consult my notes. Sorry, you could do a jump later if you want.
I'll grab my next book while we do that.
Well, in the very first October Dreams, there's a story by Dean Koontz, and it's very hilariously wholesome. It's about a little kid who's ostracized by like his family, like his dad's like some kind of big shot politician trying to like run for governor or senator. His brother's an absolute shit who like bullies him, and it's like just overall like not great. They're at a pumpkin patch for Halloween because they're looking for pumpkins to decorate for a Halloween party that the dad is throwing to impress a bunch of like sycophants as he like plans his run for office. And his brother's being a douche, and they come across this creepy old man who has a black pumpkin, and he's like, you know, the creepy old man tropes. And you know, the pumpkin looks really cool, but it's really creepy. And like, you know, they're like, oh, like the older brother's like, how much do you want for it? And it's like, yeah, however much you want to donate. And like the kid's older brother's like a douche and gives him a nickel. And The old man's like, "Oh, you're gonna regret that," and like he keeps telling the main character that the pumpkin's gonna get him and other ominous stuff. And what was I gonna say? Yeah, basically later on in the story, yeah, the Black Pumpkin comes alive and basically murders his whole family except for like the little kid. And but it's neat because the pumpkin's like, "Oh, I can't kill you." He's like, "You're actually a good person." He's like, "You're not rotten yet." He's like, "Yeah, you have potential to be a really good person." But it's just hilarious because it's like, instead of being freaked out, the kid's like psyched that his shitty family has just been like fucking destroyed by this monster. And before the story ends, like there's a piece of his brother's hand that like the monster didn't eat. He's like, "Oh, you missed something." He's like, "You missed my brother's hand or whatever." The monster's like, "Hey, thanks, kid." And it's
awesome.
just it's like very whimsical and like dark like comedy, and it was the perfect story to open that anthology with, because I'm like, this is everything like I think a good Halloween story should have. It's got like horror, it's got comedy, it's kind of got like a little coming of age, like it's got the bully,
Yeah.
it's and like that was the first thing I read by Dean Koontz, and I'm like, all right, sold.
Yeah, I read one by him this year, and I thought it was good, but it wasn't like amazing, but that sounds amazing, so
Yeah.
it actually makes me want to read more of him.
Yeah, and there's a few other great ones too. Like there's one called Lantern Marsh by Poppy Zebright about a group of kids who grows up in a town with like a marsh that's got like fairy lights, and they're not well. I don't know if they're actually fairy lights. There's something spiritual going on with them, but basically, they're fighting to keep the swamp there for the lights, and that felt like a really cool coming of age type of story too, because you follow the kids as they grow up a little bit. Um, Honestly, some of the Halloween memories were like really, really good too. I'm trying to flip through this to see what some of my other favorite stories were. But yeah, the Black Pumpkin, the Dean Koontz story was really great. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. There's like a whole like little short essay on the history of Halloween by Paula Gurin that's really, really good.
Cool.
Literally details like how it like all came to be and whatnot.
I love Halloween. It's like the best.
Ooh, here's another great one. This like felt like a classic story, like something like a Bradbury, called Out of the Dark by David B. Silva. An old man's telling his wife a story about like how he captured death, like literally captured death, like as if like he captured a wild animal.
Yeah.
And it happens 2 times throughout the story, and he plans on a third because basically he captures death because yeah, like his mom had a stroke and like he could tell death was on his way. So he's like, he captures death. He makes death promise him. He's like, "Hey, if I let you go, will you let my mom live?" And death's like, "Sure." And then as soon as he lets death go, you can guess what death does. So then after that, flash forward, he's an old man and him and his wife are old and his wife is in ailing health. And the same thing happens with his wife where he captures death again. And this time, Death actually keeps to his word because he's like, "You're not tricking me again." And she has a few more months. But then after she dies, Death comes to visit him and he's like, "You know what?" He's like, "I'm going to punish you after capturing me twice." He's like, and he makes him immortal. So basically, he's an old man. He's not in his prime, and Death makes him immortal. But then it ends with like the main character being like really smarmy, and he's like, "Oh, you think you've won," but he's like, "I've already caught you twice. I can catch you a third time." And like, I just really like the way that ends.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
I like the idea that Death was kind of like almost like a wild animal that could be caught too.
Yeah. How did he
It
catch
like
him?
almost feels like something out of like mythology or something.
Yeah, yeah. How did he catch him?
Let's see. Did I say that? He like almost like how you would like trap an animal. Like he like he got like
It's like a wily
things
coyote
that-
puts a cage on.
Yeah, no, well, things that would like smell of death, blood, things like that.
Right,
Like, It was
right.
things that made sense in like a mythological type of way. Sorry, I'm just flipping through some more, and this is all in October Dreams 1. There's still some like really good stuff here.
Yeah, give me one more.
Okay, that one.
Let's
Okay.
see what we got.
Yeah, we'll do one more. I'm not going to go into October Dreams 2. Okay, there was one really cool one. Some of these are really complex, and I'm just like, okay, here we go. Pork Pie Hat by Peter Straub. It's like a really cool horror, like mystery, like murder mystery, whodunit type story. And it's all told by like a jazz musician that this guy comes to a club to see play. So
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like what you were saying before, like a story within a story with the Geddy Lee book, except this one's like kind of like a novella within like a short story within like a novella, pretty much.
Right.
And it was just like really really neat. It's not really supernatural, but highly recommend Pork Pie Hat. It's awesome.
Cool.
And I could keep talking about all these short stories. Probably talk about some of them in the other video, but yeah.
Well, there you go.
like
Now you got now you got a Halloween video you could make, right?
Oh my god, yeah, I could just do a video on just these two things.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, just talk about some of the stories. Okay, I'm gonna move on to number 6. This is another one we read together, and I got a feeling this is on your list. So if you want to talk about it, we can. Horns by Joe Hill. Loved this book. I loved this book. I thought this I think I'm gonna call it the because of the one. This, if we're talking like proper horror, this might be the best horror book I read this year. Joe Hill, for those who don't know, is Stephen King's son. That's just his pen name. That's what he goes under. I don't know if that's because he doesn't want to be a king, so he just, I don't know if he wanted to like just get famous on his own merits or what, or successful.
I think that's exactly what it was. He wanted to he wanted to prove to himself that,
Yeah.
he didn't need his family name to.
Well, we read this together, and I was blown away by this. First Joe Hill I read. I also read with you the Heart-Shaped Box, which was good, but I actually like this better. What's it about? It's about a guy who wakes up with horns on his head, and the horns like let him hear kind of people's
People's
thoughts.
intrusive thought.
Yeah, about like unfiltered thoughts about him. So he like he hears all this shit about like people saying like, "Oh, I always thought you were an asshole," like that kind of thing.
Yeah, and he hears their other darkest thoughts and impulses too.
Yeah, other thing.
And the thing is,
yeah, like his
he doesn't
his
have any
girlfriend. She's like,
control
I
over
want to eat this whole box of donuts. I want to just shove them in my mouth. I'm gonna, just like stuff like that, right? Anyway, he ends up entangled. So like, basically, he's entangled in a murder, the murder of his ex-girlfriend, which I'm not gonna say if he did it or not, but like basically it's like between he's accused of it, and so a lot of these unfiltered opinions he's getting of him are people who believe he committed the murder, right? And so it gets kind of into that, and then the book starts out that way, and then it goes sort of like a flashback to like when he was a teenager and when he met his girlfriend and his friend, who the name's escaping me. I don't know if you remember the name of the friend. Who's like
which friend? Sorry.
The main character, his childhood friend in this. Can't remember the name. Lee, thank you. So it goes about their relationship, and then you kind of find out what exactly the circumstances of her murder were and how he gets the horns and all that. Anyway, it's a great book. This was fabulous. I really, really loved this book. This was a page turner, even though I read it on audiobook. So it was a very quick listening experience for me. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. I don't know if you had any thoughts there. If you're gonna get to it or what, but that was my number 6.
It's spoiler alert. It's on my list.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah,
we'll get all in due time, Robert. All in due time. Right. Number 4. We're getting there. We're getting there. We took a little while, but
yeah.
You read The Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson.
Very nice, very nice.
And this is the Dragonsteel edition. It's faux leather. It's got a bunch of colored illustrations. There's the end papers. The back end paper. Yep. There's the titular Yumi right there.
Yep. Another book we
very
read
cool
together.
Story. For fans of anime, it's very much a very tropey like anime like love story. Brandon specifically wrote this for his wife, and she thought it was so good. She's like, you should share this with the whole world, and I'm glad she did, because that's how we got the other secret projects he wrote, and honestly, they're pretty much all fantastic. So thank you, Emily Sanderson.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is really cool. It's about two people from seemingly like two different cultures that end up swapping bodies, and they have to end up living as each other. So there's lots of comedy, lots of trying to understand each other. The magic in the story is very interesting. Yeah, no, it was like it was really cool. It feels like more slice of life than a lot of stuff Brandon's written, so it was kind of cool having something that was both low stakes and kind of high stakes at the same time. Yeah, I would say anybody who even likes like light romance and fantasy would definitely enjoy this, and like anime.
It's definitely got some
It was
sci-fi
good.
elements too, I would say. You know?
Yes, yeah, this big twist at the end where you're like, oh, that's what's going on,
Yep.
and it like almost blindsides you. Like I've read a lot of his books and I've reread a lot of his books, and like the last like quarter or fifth of the book still kind of threw me for a loop. But I'm like, it made perfect sense
Yep.
once it's explained.
Yep.
But yeah, it was very very good.
I love what happens to Hoyt in that book, and I'm just gonna put a spoiler alert here. He's literally a coat rack for like the whole book.
Yeah. And then
He's like,
in another one of the secret projects, he can't speak straight and he's like wearing socks with sandals and he has a Hawaiian shirt
yeah,
and his brain's all scrambled.
so good, so good.
It seems to be a meme in all the secret projects. There's just something that's happened to him. Like Isles of the Ember Dark is like I think probably the least messed up he's been, but he's like
Yeah,
still trapped somewhere.
you can tell Brandon's having a lot of fun with that.
Oh yeah.
Um, okay, cool. My number five is a book I don't have. It's another classic sci-fi, big surprise, and it's called Make Room by Harry Harrison. Um, have you ever heard of or seen the movie Soylent Green?
Oh, I have heard of it. I have not seen it.
So it was a movie from the '70s, and it starred Charlton Heston. It's basically that movie's based off of Make Room. Basically, what it is, it's a it's a book about like overpopulation. I would say is the big theme of it, and
Hmm.
the main character is a detective living in, I think it's New York City, and New York City has like, I think it's like a three like, what is it? It's like it's an insane number. It's like a billion people or something like that, and
Whoa.
everybody's crammed together. There's, hence the name Make Room, make or the title Make Room, Make Room. It's very much like a like there's a lot of commentary on like, particularly overpopulation, but like, humans kind of like screwing up the planet, and there's a lot of like dystopian type of stuff, like just basic. It almost goes into that like sort of like communist trope of like there's people at the top that have a lot and that are really rich and like do have a lot of resources, but then there's like so many people at the bottom that are, you know,
Struggling. There's way more
barely
of them. Yeah.
barely surviving. Like the guy's a cop and he's barely making ends meet. And anyway, it's a really really good book. I really loved it. It's like got that dystopian post-apocalyptic sort of vibe to it, which was I always love that. It's very bleak. The ending is very bleak. And if you know Soylent Green, it doesn't really have that same twist, but yeah, that's some of that's kind of implied. But yeah, really really good book, kind of under the radar sci-fi book from I think it was written in like the 60s or 70s. So yeah, Make Room, Harry Harrison, check it out.
Cool. Alrighty then. Well, next book is book two in the Sun Eater series.
Oh,
Epic
nice.
sci-fi that feels very much like something you'd read like out of I don't know. In some ways, it feels like the Iliad or like the Odyssey or something. And the best way to describe the prose is, if anyone read King Killer Chronicles, it's like the Killer Chronicles in space, basically.
Cool.
And very similarly, it follows just one character, uh, kind of like on a slapdash journey, railing against the destiny that his like dad set out for him. And it's by the end of book two, he's already gone so far, and there was a lot of cool like lore drops in this. Like he meets a character in this who, even for the science of the time, is extremely old. Like we're talking thousands of years old, like unfathomably old,
Wow.
and like an AI that's like spoilers, by the way. Like put a spoiler disclaimer at the very beginning of
Yeah, yeah.
this book, but like he meets this like writhing mass of flesh that's like basically this big biocomputer, like underneath the ocean, like underneath this planet, and it talks about like how he's like the chosen one, and there's a lot of really cool, heady like set pieces, and it's honestly one of like the best book twos I've ever read, which kind of makes me fear for book three with how good book two was. It's like it would be hard to live up to like
Yeah.
what book two accomplished, you know. And I know the final book in the series just came out, and it's been a little divisive. I know Rosie just finished it, and he's like, at times it felt like a little preachy, like both the author and the main character.
Hmm.
He's like, he said overall he still thinks he really liked it, but it's not his favorite of the series. But yeah, I plan to read them all. I have books 3, 4, and 5 here, and when the Broken Binding. Oh yeah, I should mention this was like the Broken Binding special edition. It's got like sprayed edges,
So nice. Love
and
it.
it's got cool end papers.
I have heard nothing but good things about that series. I have to check it out.
Oh
you-
yeah.
You froze there a second.
Oh, did I? What about now?
Oh, you're back. You're back.
Okay, because you've been freezing intermittently, by
Oh,
the way.
okay. You only.
I just
froze for a
haven't
second.
said anything because I'm hoping it won't mean anything on your end.
No, it hasn't. No.
Then it's also
Ooh,
the boards also have too, like the Hyperion edition did.
beautiful. Love it.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Oh yeah, and then the Dust Book is reversible. They really went all out on.
No
this sucker.
kidding. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about that series. I've got to tackle that series at some point. I've seen interviews with the author. I know he's good friends with the Moid from Media Death Cult, who does sci-fi books and stuff. So like, I've really gotta check that series out. Like I said, I've heard nothing but good things about it, and from you as
Oh yeah.
well.
The author's name is Christopher
Rocchio,
Ruccio.
yeah.
I think, or
Rocchio.
however you do that.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay,
Yep.
there you go. See, yeah, you know how to say his name.
Yeah.
You've seen stuff with him in it.
Cool.
Cool.
My next one for me, number 4, is by a guy who's becoming one of my very favorite authors, and it's Dan Simmons, and the book is called Carrion Comfort. So this is probably my favorite horror book, if you'd consider it horror. I kind of don't. I'm weird with the horror genre, because like I've read so many books this year that are supposed to be horror, and very few are horror, in my opinion. Like we've read a couple, and I'm like, this was great, but I don't know if I would call this horror. You know, like Gone South. That's not horror, but it was great. Like I loved it. You know. So this is borderline. So Carrion Comfort, man, this was an epic book. It was like, it's basically about like these psychic vampires who can. They're predatory. Like they basically can take over somebody's mind, and they become their slave, essentially, right? There's some few people who are immune to it, like they can't, for whatever reason, can't be controlled. And then you want to talk about like sort of like military industrial complex stuff. Like this was written in the 80s, like, so the psychic vampires, a lot of them are just like people in power who run the world. And like, not to get too political, but like one guy is like super rich, knows all these famous people, owns an island where everybody goes to this island. All these mind vampires go and they do weird things. You know, not as weird as you're thinking, just like sort of like use people as pawns in a game, which indeed, like, that's even a big theme of the games that they play with people is chess, which made me actually want to try to learn chess this year. But that's beside the point. And then, so there's a couple main characters. One of the main characters, his name is Saul, because apparently that's the only Jewish name Dan Simmons can come up with, which is fine because he's an amazing writer. My joke for that who don't know is like in Hyperion, there's a main character. He's Jewish and his name is Saul. So that's where I'm getting that joke from. But yeah. So anyway, but amazing character, and there's a whole flashback with him where he is actually a Holocaust survivor. So going back to that sort of thing. And one of the big plot elements in this is that one of the mind vampires was a Nazi that Saul encounters during like World War II, like during the Holocaust, and then his whole motivation is to find this guy who he's convinced is still alive, and then that's a big part of the story. But anyway, it's an amazing book. I really, really loved that book. up there with Hyperion and The Terror, in my opinion, as like just a masterpiece by him. He's just an incredible writer. I really, really love his stuff. So check out Carrion Comfort. Really, really, really fun and unique book.
Yeah, no, I've definitely mean to, for sure. Speaking of it,
In the
we talk
top
about
three
it a
now.
lot. Yep, Gone South. It's number 3.
Oh wow, you really
Number
like
3.
Gone South. That's awesome.
It was one of the biggest pleasant surprises for me this
Yeah.
year, just because it's so different. Because it's like you have two different sets of like found family, both begrudging. Like the Vietnam veteran, like definitely gets like ticked off with the girl he meets up with, and then Pelvis. Yeah. By the way, the Elvis impersonator's
Pelvis,
name
yeah.
is Pelvis.
He's
I feel like
great,
that's
yeah,
very
he's
important for
So
like
good.
the story. It's just hilarious. But Pelvis gets on what's his name? Flint's nerves, because Flint's brother is named Clint, right? I mixed it up. Yeah. Basically Pelvis and Flint, they are bounty hunters, and the Elvis impersonator is a new bounty hunter that the other guy's supposed to train, and the other guy's like a gambling addict who's super curmudgeon-y and like antisocial, and I think it's explained he was like a twin, but he like partially absorbs his twin in the womb.
Yeah.
Yeah, his brother is like fused to him. He has a third arm, and his brother's face is like on his chest.
Yeah, it's
So
like
it's
basically
like-
like a mouth and nostrils or something like weird.
Yeah. He's led a hard life because of that. He was basically abandoned by his family, so he's like very cynical. But throughout the book, he kind of comes to care for like Pelvis in his own strange way.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a really cool scene at a bar where it's like you get to hear him sing, and he's like, "Oh, you can actually sing and like not just Elvis impersonate." He's like, "You should just do your own thing. Like maybe I could be your agent." So it's like even though like the book, for most of the book, it's like the 4 main characters are like really struggling like bad, both
Yeah.
like mentally and physically. Like the book kind of ends on like a happy note, like for everyone.
Yeah, like the main character meets a girl. She's the 4th character. She has this big like birthmark on half of her face, and she hears this legend about how she wants to. There's this like healer. I forget what her name is. And
Yeah, like a faith healer called, what is it, the Bright Lady or the
Bright
Woman or
Lady. Yeah,
something?
yep. And she's trying. So like, you realize partway through the book, it's like, oh, these 4 characters are just sort of like misfits or have some kind of thing that makes them an outcast, and it really feels like the whole book is about redemption and second chances and that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Empathy,
And about
you know?
maybe getting to know somebody before judging them. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was really, really well done too. I'm glad you liked it so much.
Yeah, no, it was great. I'm actually really starting to like Robert McCammon a lot. Like I want to read the next few Matthew Corbet books, and it's funny. It's a huge series, but you can kind of read them individually. I started at book 7, which was Cardinal Black,
Mhm.
and I read 8. Book 8 was King of Shadows, and book 9 is a collection of short stories, and 10 is the finale to the whole thing. And then I'm gonna go back and read 1 through 6 sequentially.
Cardinal
So-
Black's one you gave me, right? Because I have that.
Yes,
I'll read that for sure.
I haven't read 1 through 6, but I'd say it's a pretty good starting point, honestly.
One last
I
thing I wanted
enjoyed
to
it.
say about Gone South that I just remembered. I listened to the audiobook of that, and the best part of the audiobook was the guy did the Elvis voice. He's like, oh, you're not going to leave Mama now, are you? You know, it's like so good. He's so good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Elvis
That
is-
made the book even better. Like him doing that stupid Elvis impression was so good.
Yeah, that's honestly God tier. I'm like, if I reread it, I might have to listen to it.
Yeah, just listen to it. The narrator was very good. I hate to say it, a lot of these I did on audiobook. Like,
Mhm.
I'm actually gonna look at my top 10. Like, audiobook, 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 audiobook,
Yeah, but that's fair. That's fair that it
audiobook. So most of the. Sometimes I think a little bit the narrator can color it. So if it's a really good narrator, it can make it better. And I don't know. Obviously, you have to go on the strength of the writing itself too. But yeah,
Sure.
audiobooks can make a difference depending on it. Anyway, my number 3. Man, this book surprised me. It's The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula Ursula. I'm not Mike Tyson. Ursula, sorry, Ursula
Oh,
K. Le Guin. I'm really happy about this book because any sci-fi fan knows that she wrote. She's a really really important science fiction author, and she wrote The Dispossessed, which I really liked a lot, and she also wrote The Left Hand of Darkness, which was good, but it wasn't like you always hear about those two books from her, and they're supposed to be like the best science fiction books ever. And I remember thinking, like, to be honest, with both books, I was a little disappointed. I was like, I don't know if this is 2001 or if this is like the Chrysalids or something like that, you know. And but then when I read The Lathe of Heaven, I was like, okay, this is that good in my opinion. This is that good. This was so like weird and trippy and like so many big ideas and big themes in this. Basically, like long story short, the main character, he is like his dreams are like manifesting reality. So like he's going to see this like scientist like psychiatrist guy who's using this machine, and the guy quickly realizes that like the stuff that this guy is dreaming is manifesting things. So he's now taking it upon himself to try to change the world using his dreams. So like basically there's stuff like, you know, I because this book is so like crazy and complex, I recently was just like kind of re-summarizing it because I read this almost a year ago now.
Sure.
But it's like some of the things some of the things he tries to do is like he tries to he's like he wants to stop all war from happening. So then like aliens come and invade the earth. And that's how humans stop fighting each other, is they have to fight the aliens, right? And then it's like it's something like he tries to get rid of racism, but then like it just completely wipes out like cultural differences entirely. So I guess the theme
everybody
of the,
becomes like a sterilized, monotonous.
yeah. So the theme of the book is kind of like you may have like good intentions to change big things, but it's like it's not necessarily like gonna like if you try to change those things, it may not necessarily have the outcome that you're looking for. Does that make sense? So it's like
Yeah.
it's not taking into account, I guess, like at least this is the summary I was reading of the book because it's been a while, right? But it was like unintended consequences and not taking into account the complexity of human beings by like by like trying with like a broad brushstroke to just like change something, right? So like big ideas, really really like the prose is great. It like super weird. I just really really loved it. This is like top tier science fiction in my opinion. This is what I look for. This is why I love classic science fiction. This is it. Love this. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's the best Ursula K. Le Guin book. It is not The Dispossessed, and it is not Left Hand of Darkness. I'm sorry.
You heard it here, folks.
That's my hot take. It's my hat take.
There you go. All right,
Number two, man. Number two.
Isles of the Emberdark by Brandon Sanderson.
Nice. I'm surprised that's not number one for some reason.
This was really cool. Very different too. The original novella Six of the Dusk is included in this as a set of flashbacks during the first part of the book, and I think what really elevates this, honestly, I really really like this. Like you said, this might be my favorite secret project too. It feels like a really good episode of Star Trek, and that's exactly what Brandon said his like future Cosmere stuff would feel like, because in this you have a man from a culture that's basically only going through an industrial revolution, visited by spacefaring civilizations who are both pressuring them to almost swear fealty to them and give up their natural resources in exchange for like it's almost like the mob, like for like protection. It's like basically you're going to side with us or it's going to be even worse for you. And trying to find a third option so that they don't have to go with either the two other unpalatable superpowers who are vying for their natural resources. And it basically involves him going into another dimension which he's never been to before and trying to navigate the dangers there based on his profession. He's what's called a trapper. where he goes to a dangerous jungle. He navigates it in order to raise the birds, which are what their natural resource is, because they grant magical powers to people who aren't familiar with the novella Six of the Dusk. And in it, he encounters other people who are a group of other humans and non-humans from other planets, and they're kind of like ostracized too. And basically, they kind of team up together and they kind of find a solution that works. And the way they go about it is so neat. It's like the folklore of Dusk's people from like way back when. Like their myths and culture are actually integral to the solution that solves the issues to their problem. And there's really cool magical stuff. There's really neat character moments. Not gonna lie, the end was a little emotional when he's like trying to like figure out. He's like, "Oh man, what do I do with my life now?"
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And the internal struggles he goes through the book, like kind of like with the imposter syndrome and feeling like he's not useful to anybody. I'm like, man, that's actually super relatable.
Yeah.
Like,
I know what you mean.
Everybody
Yeah.
goes through those moments, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was really cool. Like all the characters are cool. Spoilers, like you get the most dragon lore out of any of Brandon's books
Yep.
in this, so that was really cool. There's
A lot
some
of
like
Cosmere
really
stuff pops up, like greater Cosmere stuff.
Yep. You get answers about it. A lot of stuff's brought up too, like about like the one planet that Shades for Silence in the Forest of Hell takes place. There's these huge, like basically like almost like ghost like spirit like entities that are like the size of skyscrapers. They got multiple limbs. They've got really creepy faces. So there's like a lot of like almost really like weird psychological, almost like horror elements. They don't pop up often, but when they do, you're like, okay, that's really unnerving and creepy. So there's like a lot to be had in this book. There's a lot. There's science, there's horror, there's fantasy. Really, there's a whole like mismatch of stuff, and I felt like it didn't feel like too much or too little. So
It's got me
yeah,
very
it's-
excited between that and the Sunlit Man, which are probably my two favorite of the Secret Project novels. It's got me very excited for this later era Cosmere stuff where it's in the future, because like he's obviously just going full sci-fi, and I love that.
Oh yeah.
Like he's going
Oh, yeah.
full on into the sci-fi. Like the magic system stuff is still there, but it's way more based. I mean, it's always been based on like, I know what was his thing? What
He basically treats the magic system like a strain of physics, basically.
Yeah,
Like
was he into physics? I know he
definitely
was into one of the
sci-fi.
sciences, wasn't he? Like when he was in college?
He went to school for chemistry.
Chemistry,
but,
okay. But like his magic systems have always had that element to it, like stuff like, you know, burning metals and whatever. There was always like a science behind it. So like the fact that his magic
Yeah.
systems already have that, and we're going into like future sci-fi, like future tech sci-fi stuff, I'm very excited. I think it's going to be some of his best
Same.
stuff. It has real potential. And this and Sunlit Man were really exciting. I didn't put this or Yumi on my list, which we read both, but they both were very close. Like that's how strong this year is. And when you see my top two, you're gonna be like, well,
Yeah.
well, no wonder, you know. So,
Yeah.
but it was just a very strong year for me for books, and they were really, really good. I would say Ember Dark is probably the best Secret Project novel for sure, by quite a long way for me. Now the only thing,
nice.
the only counterpoint I want to give to that book, which is probably why it wasn't in the higher echelon for me, was I just felt like it could have, like, which is weird. I almost always feel the opposite way about Brandon. I feel like he could have actually made this a bigger book. Like it felt.
Yeah.
Not that it was missing
know, I
something,
feel you.
but like it could have been
Political-
fleshed out. It could have, like, honestly, it could have been like another like 100 pages. I think, you know.
No, I think I agree with you, because it's like a lot of the political intrigue stuff they bring up with the Wallish.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, there was that like assassination, and then it's like you find out that it wasn't one of the Sleepless, and that it was somebody else. I'm like, man, that's a whole story in of itself, you know.
And honestly, I felt
There's
like
a lot of cool stuff.
I saw what he did by putting the Six of the Dusk novel in it. I personally didn't think,
Yeah.
even just thinking about it, because I didn't really like, I had read that. I had read that story, but I didn't really remember much of it because it has been a couple years since I read it, and it's like I really actually didn't think the novel needed the flashback. Like, I think he could
Yeah.
have fleshed
Okay.
out more of that story without the flashback. That's my opinion. But, like, or even made the flashback, like, a little less. Like, it wasn't necessary. But it was a great book. I really, really enjoyed it. So, it wasn't quite like, it wasn't like a Mistborn or a Stormlight, but it was like, it was still really great. It might even be his, like, best standalone novel. Like, it's
Wow.
very
Yeah.
possible. I liked it that much, yeah. I thought it was good.
Nice.
Yeah. So my number two, like, I almost felt obligated to put this here. I almost thought felt obligated to put this at number one, but I didn't. I read The Lord of the Rings this year, and The Hobbit.
Ah, yes.
You know,
There you go.
so I almost. It's not my number one, but like I've shown these off in previous videos, but I gotta do it again. These are great. These vintage copies, which I read.
Yeah.
Well, I read all of this on. I read this whole book. I read this whole book. I read half of this and then switched to audiobook on this, and then I did audiobook for this because it was just taking too fucking long. It was just taking too long. It's so dense, you know. It's like crazy. I mean, I don't know what else to really say. I can even just buy. It's Lord of the Rings. You know, it was a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad for those who don't know, I had never read The Lord of the Rings before. I've seen the movies a million times. I listened to the BBC audio of it, radio thing for it, which was great. I read The Hobbit as a kid, so this was actually, to be honest, in terms of like actually like a reading experience, this was probably my favorite. It was just pleasant and fun to read, followed by probably Fellowship, because Fellowship's just classic. I know a lot of people actually think like the Shire part drags. That's like one of my favorite parts of like the whole thing. I just love the way he builds it up. It's great, and then you get into like them leaving the Shire and all that stuff. It's fabulous. I don't know what to say about Lord of the Rings. Tolkien was a genius. These were great. I'm glad I finally read them. I don't know if I'll read them again. If I do, it'll probably be a long time from now. But yeah, one of the greatest series of fantasy novels. Well, probably the greatest fantasy series of all time.
Cool.
Yep.
All right.
What's your number one, Matt? Tell me. Give it to me.
It's Horns.
Ooh.
And then this is pretty special edition Levidian Publications did. It's like a red faux leather. It's got hubs on the spine.
Wow.
And I like this is some kind of burnt in embossed thing. Like this is actually like feels indented.
Wow.
And same thing with on the cover.
Cool. You're
And
slightly
it's got-
blocky, but I can see it okay. It's okay.
Oh, okay. Weird. I never see it on my end. That's strange. But same thing with you. You probably don't see it on your
Yeah,
end
you look
either.
fine now.
But there's a bunch of cool illustrations in here. I also love that each part has its like own like individual name. Like instead of like part one, part two. Like, I especially love that the last part's called "The Gospel According to Mick" and Keith. I thought that was great because like
Yeah.
the whole like Rolling Stones motif, you know.
Yep. He had a bunch of that stuff in Heart Shaped Box too, because of the rock and roll theme, right?
Oh yeah, even more so in that for sure.
Did you have anything to add with Horns that I didn't say already? Like, I mean,
Yes, I did. Sorry, I just spilled my water. I'm
Oh.
just making sure it didn't get anything.
oh, okay. Do you want to pause for a minute and do that, or?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Okay. So, what do you want to say about Horns?
I mean, God, like it's got everything in it. It's got humor, tragedy. God, my God, like there's so much to freaking say about it. But yeah, it's got redemption, betrayal, love, hatred. I actually really loved like the religious stuff in it too, because people might see that and be like, oh, it's evil, it's devil worship, but like there's one really good point made in the story which I feel like he could have actually expanded upon. Like I still think the book's like an 11 out of 10 for me, but the part where he gives the sermon, yeah, spoilers, to like a bunch of snakes, where he's like,
That was
you
great.
know, he's like, Satan stays in hell willingly to punish people, so it's almost like, he's punishing sinners for God. So like instead of them being like antithetical to one another, he's almost just like, it's almost like a partnership. And I thought that was like a very interesting take on it all too.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know. I just thought the whole concept of the horns was like both hilarious and terrifying too, because it's like you couldn't turn it off. Like imagine going home to your parents and like your grandparents, and they just say the meanest, nastiest, intrusive thought things to you.
I know. That was
There's
great.
definitely a lot of humor and definitely a lot of messed up scenes. Like I love when he pushes his grandma down the hill.
Yeah. So
It
good.
was,
There was a lot
it
of really
was
funny
so.
parts. I feel like Heart-Shaped Box had that same vibe. It just wasn't done as well. You know?
I agree, and it's funny because for the longest time, like Heart Shaped Box was like his big, like it was a big hit right out the gate, and I'm like, I like this, but I'm like, man, I love Horns so much. But apparently, the
Yeah.
Horns movie like really breathed new life into the book, which is awesome.
Yeah, I'll have to see that. And Daniel Radcliffe plays the main character, right?
Yeah, everybody I know who's seen it said that's easily his best performance.
Wow.
So I'm
Wow.
stoked.
Interesting. Yeah, it was great, wasn't it? I really enjoyed reading that with you. It was a very very strong book. Like it was definitely like it made my top 10 as well. So,
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely. No, and I just enjoyed it. It felt like a unique read too. And I want to say, if I had to compare it to anything, it felt like very like almost like Good Omensy. Like I
Mhm.
forget, have you read Good Omens
No, I
yet?
haven't. No, but I could see just from I've only read American Gods, but just from the style of how Neil
Writing,
Gaiman
yeah, like
writes, I
it
can I
feels
could see
very
it.
like heady but like focused at
Yeah.
the same time.
Yep. And obviously he has that Stephen King thing a little too. Obviously that's his
Yes,
dad,
yes,
right? So,
yeah, yeah. Like some of that had to have rubbed off on him, for sure.
well, shall I do mine? My number one?
Yes, after that epic like
No.
drink and like sigh.
Well, speaking of Stephen King, my number one is The Stand
There you
by
go.
Stephen King. That would like I'm understand. I don't have a book, by the way. I should have told you in advance, but I wanted you. I didn't want to tell you the number one, but because I know you have that fancy copy of The Stand. But
Yes, got it right now off camera.
um, like I get now, like Stephen King is the best. Like he really is. Like it's like there's people that are underrated or that are overrated. There's authors that are overrated. There's Stephen King is not overrated. Like when he's on, he's on. And The Stand was so epic, so big in scale. It felt like three books in one. Um it was incredible. I loved it. I honestly loved The Stand. I remember reading The Dark Tower. Like the first thing I read by him, really the first thing was the Dark Tower series, and I read Salem's Lot during that. I think I read Salem's Lot like around the same time I read the fifth Dark Tower book, which has one of the characters in it. And so like Dark Tower was a masterpiece. Salem's Lot was a masterpiece. I read It, that's a masterpiece. I read Misery, that's a masterpiece. Do you know what I mean? I read
Yep.
Pet Cemetery, that's nearly a masterpiece. I read that short story collection that you gave that finally this year as well, which is not on my list. But like
Different
honestly,
seasons. Yeah.
honestly like I would say basically all two of those stories are outright masterpieces, and the other two are like close, you know.
Yeah.
And The Stand is the masterpiece. It is like it might even be his best book. And it's funny, I said that about It. I said that about you know what I mean. He's just that period of King was just I don't know what he was. I don't know if it was the cocaine. I don't know if it was the alcoholism. I don't know if it was just that he's a damn good writer, but he's a damn good writer, and The Stand was epic. Like it just I don't know what else to say about it. It was so good. I loved the characters. I loved the like the whole beginning of the book is I don't want to give too much away for those who haven't read it, but like certainly in modern times it's very poignant. It starts out as a pandemic sort of thing. Long story short, the pandemic does not go well. It's like imagine COVID, but like 10 times worse, 100 times worse. And then it's like that happens, and then it's like rebuilding society, and there's this guy called Randall Flagg, which any Stephen King fan is gonna know that name, Randall Flagg, and because he pops up in a few of his other books. But like, yeah, it was just great. It was like I'm excited that you got that version and you're gonna read it. It was as good as its reputation, in my opinion. It was as good as its reputation would suggest. So it's probably his best. I think it's probably his best standalone book, for sure.
Yeah, when I saw Richard and Billy Chismar, Richard Chismar actually contributed to a book. I don't know if you knew this. There was a book that came out last year that's like a tribute to The Stand. Like Stephen King gave a bunch of writers permission to write stories based in that world.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Richard was saying that he thinks amongst like a lot of his friends and professionals, like people will like some people love The Dark Tower, some people like think it's ass, some people hate it, but he's like he feels like the one thing most Stephen King fans can agree on is like The Stand is like his magnum opus, and it sounds like you share that sentiment.
Yeah, it was just I was so into it. It was so good. He actually did, like, he's known for not having great endings. His ending was good. It was just epic. I loved it. So much stuff I could say about it, but I could do a whole fucking series on The Stand, you know? So it's just like, it was far and away the best book that I read this year, you know? And it was really the only thing I could say that could beat The Lord of the Rings. Like, when I was looking at it, I was like, I like The Stand more, you know? I just did.
Yeah, I can't say anything. When I read Lord of the Rings, it was like 7 or something on my top 10. So you're
yeah. But so yeah. Anyway, that's my number one is The Stand. So I just thought it was funny you picked Joe Hill and I picked Stephen King.
Yeah, the father son combo.
Yeah. So there you go. That's it. I mean, this was very long winded, but that was our top 10 books this year. So really, when it was all said and done, more like we talked probably more about like over 30 books really. So there you go, guys. Mm-hmm. So I would definitely recommend reading any of these books. I mean, we co-read a lot of these together, like you said, and I take your word for it that all the stuff you read was really good too. So I'm sure if you haven't read any of these books, there's something here that'll tickle your fancy, you know. So yeah, I don't know. Any final thoughts from you, Matt?
No, I think we've like ranted and raved enough. If you guys want to subject yourselves to more punishment, we'll be putting out a companion piece to this where we answer a bunch of superlatives like funniest books, most emotional books, most unique things, biggest like disappointment or turd issue. Like
biggest turd. Yeah.
No offense to the authors, by the way. We don't want to start any witch hunts or be like it just means it didn't personally work for us.
As many people
always want to make that clear.
I've heard a few people online say this, and it's nice to hear it. It's okay to not like things, and it's okay to disagree, and it's okay to have an opinion. It's like it's not the end of the world, you know.
No, if I don't like a book, at the same time, it's like
you know
you could do it respectfully though. At the same time,
yeah, you can. So it's like. Anyway, but that's our top 10, guys. Keep an eye out for more of this kind of thing. I'm also going to be posting the previous years that we've done this. We've done this 3 year. Well, this is our 4th year in a row doing it. So I'll have all those complete videos up at some point, and there'll be other stuff. So thanks for watching. Hit a like on it. Hit subscribe. All that stuff. We love you. Thank you. Take us out, Matt. While I drink this water.
Segways are hard. That's how you should just end it. Segways are hard.
Done.
The end.
Cut. All right. Let me stop recording this one.